the big show with the Blue Jays, Rangers, Tigers.
Oh my!
And also he spent the last 2 seasons of his baseball career with the New York Mets. Frank Canalendo with us. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Thanks for coming on.
Sure.
I was looking at your bio. I was like, wow, you were a Met. You played for 2 years, and I'm a big Met fan since I was 5 years old. So, what was it like playing? Were you at Citi Field, and did you like that field?
I was at Citi Field, and I did. I liked it. It was nice to wrap up my career, with the New York Mets. I enjoyed being able to sleep in my own bed and commute to work and have my friends and my family come to the games. It was awesome.
Nice. So, talk about your. How did you get this? I know the coach who was there last year was a good friend of the program, and what was it like getting the phone call saying, "Hey, you want to be part of D1 baseball?" Because I know you came from, New York Technology School or something like that.
Yes, I came from New York Tech, and unfortunately they canceled all their athletics there after COVID hit. So it was disappointing for me, because I really enjoyed coaching college baseball. So to get the phone call from Hofstra, to be able to be their head coach at the D1 level was really exciting. It's a thrill of mine to be able to to live on Long Island and be a head coach here at Hofstra. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I was doing some research. You had a great career in Major League Baseball. I got to say, who could get 6 hits in a game? That's pretty good. That's not bad, And you still remember that game when you were in Toronto? And look at these uniforms, folks. You haven't seen these Blue Jays uniforms. They used to be the not the ones they're wearing today. It's like the dark ones.
Yes.
Look at these suckers. It's like. So what was it like playing? Getting 6 hits in the major leagues? It must have been like. Were you nervous did you know you got 6 hits, or were you just like by the time you got to the your last at bat going, wow, I'm 5 for 5 here. Yeah.
No, listen, every single hit you have, how many you have, and I remember my going up for my 6th at bat. Vernon Wells, who was the center fielder, grabbed me before I went up for my last at bat and said, "Hey, if you get a 6th hit here, it's a record, a Blue Jay record, so don't screw it up." So he put some pressure on me, but I knew going up that I had a chance to break the record and get 6 hits in one game, and luckily I was able to get that last base hit.
Yeah. Before we go talk about your college, your job now, I got to ask you, who was your toughest, pitcher you ever faced in the batter's box? I know you probably pitched, hit against all these classic hitters, pitchers like Nolan Ryan and Roger Clemens and all that stuff. Who was the toughest?
Yeah, for me, it was Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez owned me. He was awesome. Yeah, I see that Boston Red Sox. Yeah, I see.
Hey, Adam, comment down. You might be coming up there and have a nice little choice words with you. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead. Yeah, so, why was Pedro that tough? Just the way he delivered the baseball? Or the way how?
So it was – he threw a great fastball, but also his best pitch to me was a changeup, and he threw it out of the same slot and with the same arm speed, everything looked exactly the same. So as a hitter, I didn't know if it was a fastball or a changeup coming in, and it always seemed like whenever I was looking for the changeup, he threw the fastball, and whenever I was looking for the fastball, he threw the changeup. So it was almost impossible to hit him.
Yeah. Well, my dad, this is back in the old school, my dad was playing college ball, and he was in the batter's box with Jim Bibby, who used to pitch for the Pirates. This is back in the 70s, and my dad actually fouled one of them off, fastball. I said, "What was the sound like?" My dad goes like this. That's what it is. It's you can't even. It's just like if it's searing, it just comes right to you, and you just basically need to figure out where it is. Yeah. And
it takes a long time to get used to that. Trust me.
Hey, Adam, do you have any nice stories for
No, Coach. You played with the Tigers, and I believe you played at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions for you. First of all, what was it like to play at Tiger Stadium? And the second question, we with the Red Sox had Jerry Remy as an analyst, for all of our Red Sox telecasts. But you in Detroit had the late, great Hall of Famer Ernie Harwell calling your games. So what was it like to have Ernie calling your games when you were a member of the Tigers?
So I was very fortunate to get to play there at that old Tiger Stadium. You know, to be able to be on the same field as guys, you know, Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth and all those old time players was pretty awesome. You know, obviously the stadium was old, the clubhouse was very small, and the dugout was small. The amenities, there weren't a lot of amenities there, but it was really nostalgic and really awesome to just be on that same field. As far as Ernie is concerned, what a great guy. I mean, he was just an unbelievable announcer, but also just a great human being. So it was nice to get to know him my first few years in the league, and you know, I have such great memories of him calling a lot of my games. You know, my dad kept every single game that I played in. You know, he's got the video and stuff. So every so often I'll put it on and I'll hear Ernie Harwell's voice, and it's pretty cool to hear him call the games.
Nice. Let's talk about your college job now, because that's the 14 years that you probably still enjoy. But I know a lot of kids are like, you know, your players are going like, okay, now you're my manager. So what's that? How's practice going? I know you guys play next week in Houston, Texas against Houston Baptist. So how's the feeling like with practice? Are you guys practicing indoors?
Yeah, we're practicing indoors. Luckily, last week we had 3 days it was nice enough outside. It was upper 40s, low 50s that we were able to get out on the field. So that was nice. But for the most part, we've been inside, and it's been pretty fun to watch. You know, in the fall when we started, you know, we had a lot of work to do, and to see the progress from the fall to now has been pretty impressive. So, you know, I really feel like, you know, getting this season started, we're in a good spot. You know, we've got some guys that can drive the ball. I think we're going to score some runs, and we've identified some pitchers that, you know, that I think are going to help us out. So, you know, my coaching staff has been outstanding. All four of us have played professional baseball. The other three guys played in the minor leagues for quite a while. So we're able to teach them some things that we learned in professional baseball, and these guys are picking it up really quick.
Wow, that's good. You know, and,
Cool.
and how's your pitching staff this year? Because I know Hospital had a pretty good pitching staff the last couple of years. There was one kid a couple of years ago threw a no-hitter, so that was pretty cool. You know, I had him on later in the year. But how's the pitching staff, and how do you set up stuff for the weekend? Because I know you need to find a Friday night pitcher, and then you got to find somebody could be a Saturday, and then you got those back-to-back games. Maybe you might have a doubleheader on Saturday. How's that plan out?
It's going pretty good. You know, we lost a couple of really good pitchers from last year. So I thought that might be our weakness, but it turns out that some guys are kind of sticking their necks out and showing us that they can pitch. So we've got a pretty good idea now who's going to be our Friday guy, who's going to be our Saturday guy, and who's going to be our Sunday guy. We haven't yet told the guys, but I think this might be one of our strengths. And like I said, in the fall, I thought it might be a weakness. So to watch, you know, my pitching coach, you know, coach these guys up and help them get to the level that they are now has been pretty impressive to watch. So we're really feeling good about the pitching going into the season.
That's good. You know, that's always good. Knowing that you have a good pitching core, and that could probably, and with the CAA pretty good with, you know, JMU, it's like their final season, and you got Towson, who, you know, they were pretty good last year at the end of like, you know, February, March, they got better. And, you know, and then you guys in Northeast basically ran away with the regular season title and the CAA title. And they were like, and Mike Glavin, who you probably played with, right?
I played against him, I believe. Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
So that's going to be a very interesting little battle there for you guys. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I heard his brother Tom, who's some famous guy we know. You know, I heard he shows up.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I heard that the other day. I heard that one time. I was like, really? Tom Glavine just shows up whenever he wants to? I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. You know, you got an automatic pitching coach that's
right.
You know, pop in. You know.
Yep.
You know, but. Yeah, it's going to be a great season, and you guys, you know, open up in Houston. Is that Houston Baptist? Is that like you guys are in the open air stadium, or you got like a dome? Because I know Houston is like almost like this time of year. There was 56 degrees last weekend. I had a friend who was down there doing some games down there.
Yeah, it's an open air stadium. I don't know a heck of a lot about it, but I do know that Lance Berkman is the head coach. So that's
Well,
gonna
that's
be
cool.
pretty cool going down there, seeing him and playing against him.
Maybe I can probably get him on the program next week. That would be seen. We'll see. We'll get him on. Maybe we can talk to Lance Berkman there. Former Astro.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you spent time in Texas, so you're used to the Texas weather. And I got to ask you, with that new field at Gold Light Field, with the dome next to Jerry World, and there's no room for anything there anymore.
I know.
They kept the old stadium for some football or something like that. I'm like, just knock it down, man. But how hot was it to play in Texas during the summer? Because I heard stories. It was like you guys were like, thank God there's a thunderstorm that came in, before the game.
Yep. It got so unbearable. I mean, I remember games, they would start the games at 7:30. And a lot of times in the summer, we wouldn't have day games ever because, even on Saturday and Sunday, they'd start the games at 7:30 at night. And I remember I'd look up at the board and it would have the temperature up there and it would say 102 degrees at 7:30 at night. And it would be like, this is crazy. How are we playing like this? So it got pretty unbearable at times.
Yeah, it must have. And it was fun too. You were part of some of those good Ranger teams, right?
Yes. Yeah, we had some pretty good teams. Unfortunately, when I was there, we didn't get to the playoffs. It was shortly after I left they started going to the playoffs. Yeah.
That figures. Every time, like I talked to former major leaguers, like, they left a year later and they win the World Series. I'm like,
yep.
Like you're like, oh man. Real quick before I let you go, with this with the Olympics going on, you did a lot of you played for Team Italy, in the World Baseball Classic. What was it like doing that? And do you hope one day that we got baseball still back in the Olympics, but it's pretty cool to having Team Italy and everybody else. What was that experience like?
The experience was great. I think Major League Baseball does a great job with that World Baseball Classic. It kind of promotes baseball all over the place, all over the world, in all these different countries. And it was cool for me to be able to play with some of the kids from Italy who, they'd come over and they're so passionate about baseball. Obviously, we know soccer is the big sport over there, but they're so passionate about baseball. And, I remember with me and Mike Piazza would be talking about, the game or the pitcher or whatever in the dugout. And sure enough, they would start trickling over and start listening to us and wanted to learn. And we'd kind of be mentors for them. So it was really neat. And I hope to be able to, I coached in the World Baseball Classic for Team Italy the last time. And I hope in the future, I'll be able to do the same thing.
I mean, and it's also cool having Mike Piazza with you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
You can actually tell them stories, about, his days in New York and, and all that stuff. So that's cool. Yeah. Well, Frank, thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy your rest of your week. Hopefully the weather gets nice and warm there on Long Island. I'm from Oceanside, New York, so I know sometimes this time of year it might get a little warm up there, but enjoy the practices, and we'll talk to you when you get down in the middle of the season, maybe down when you get down to Towson.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's Frank Canalindo, who head coach at Hofstra University, joining us tonight. A little baseball. So we were trying to get the coach from Mount St. Mary's on, but he never sent me a text message. So we'll try to get him on another time down the road. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see who these people send a text message for. Let's see. We got some. No, we didn't. I got somebody sent me a nice text message. Yep. Anyway, what's another major leaguer? We this weekend the State Farm. What I'm talking about Texas for, because State Farm is having a tournament out there in the Globe Life Field, and they have Arizona, Michigan, what's that team? Oklahoma, Kansas State. They're all playing at Globe Field, and I had a chance.
Auburn University, I believe, is playing also. If my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, something like that. Auburn is. Yes, Auburn is. Chip Hale, who used to be a former major leaguer, former coach, former Met, former everybody. He's the coach of Arizona now.
Yes, he is.
I had a chance to talk to him earlier in the month about playing at, going to be, what's the difference of playing at the new stadium in Texas towards the old stadium where, it was outdoors and like you heard, it was like 104 degrees and, everybody wants to, you just want
Stay hydrated.
stay hydrated or
Oh,
go
yeah. Oh, yeah.
stay for a couple hours. So here's my interview with Coach Hale. Hello, this is questions for Coach Hale. This is Chris Heidel from Hermanson Radio in Baltimore. I know you were just with the Detroit Tigers last year. What's the difference between the new ballpark in Texas for the Globe Life to the old ballpark at Arlington?
Well, number one, it's indoors, which makes it a lot easier, and you're going to play the game and you're going to get started on time. I always felt like the old ballpark was beautiful. I actually played in the old ballpark and I loved it. So anytime you come to Arlington, great fans, great baseball atmosphere. That didn't change. Only thing is just playing on the turf, and they've got the newest, best turf you can have. And obviously when I was there with the Tigers, we had huge crowds, which we expect to draw really well here too. So we're super excited for it.
Yeah, that's Coach Chip Hale, who is now the head coach of Arizona baseball.
Yep. And
baseball, other teams playing this weekend. You got the Liberty. We had Liberty University on a couple weeks ago with Coach Jackson. They're going down to Florida to play the Gators this weekend, 7:00 on the SEC network. No, that's my brother's favorite team. And then our friend at Towson University, Coach Tyler. He's going to be going down to his alma mater to take on Miami. And we told him if he takes 2 out of 3 from the Canes, he will be having a welcome party here.
Yeah. And actually, to let the viewers know, Chip Hale took over for Jay Johnson, who is now the head baseball coach at LSU. And Coach Johnson, he brought over some really good players from Arizona, including one of the players is Jacob Berry, who was I believe he was the first baseman at the University of Arizona. So he went with Jay Johnson over to LSU.
Okay.
And I believe you can catch the Townsend versus Miami game on ACC Network Extra.
We'll figure it out. I didn't see it on their schedule, but we'll find out.
I think it is.
I'll send it to you. Yeah. So in the meantime, let's bring in Mike Vendola, who is the PR guy for the Iron Pigs of Lehigh Valley, and also during the basketball season, you do basketball for New Jersey Institute. So thanks, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me. So looking forward to talking a little baseball with you guys.
Oh yes, everybody is ready for baseball because we're dying for college, but we're waiting for the pros to get moving here. But because they're having this lockout, so you guys are having the Phillies are still doing their winter caravan tour. So tell the folks how long have the Phillies been doing this? And they've been doing this for years, right?
Yeah, they've been going back a long time. At least for the Iron Pigs, it's been since their first year back in 2008. I know for the Reading Fighting Phils, it goes back even further than that. So, but because of the lockout, the Phillies, and the Iron Pigs, and of course even for the Reading Fighting Phils, just wanted to keep in tradition. Wanted to keep it, keep the caravan afloat. So at least for us in Lehigh Valley, we're excited to have some really good Phillies alumni such as Mickey Morandini, Tommy Green, and Milt Thompson. The Philly Fanatic will be on hand. Scott Fransky, the radio voice of the Phillies, will be on hand. So we're really excited about this lineup that we have. So I've worked with Mickey. Mickey was an assistant coach when I was with the Reading Fighting Phils. Great guy. I've had the privilege of meeting Tommy Green in the past before. I know Scott Fransky really well, so I'm excited to see those guys, and excited to meet Milt Thompson for the first time. Of course, he was the hitting coach for the 2008 World Series champions, for the Phillies back in 2008. So it's going to be a fun time. It'll be on Thursday, February 24th. And we still have tickets available. Get to ironpigsbaseball.com for those who are watching, listening, that are in the Lehigh Valley area. We'd love for you to come out and take part in the festivities.
Yeah, tickets are available. They're $100, but you get 2 pair of tickets for $180. You get sponsorship opportunities, a program ad, an autograph bat, That's pretty good stuff. And you can actually use it if you need a birthday gift. You got someone who's a Phillies fan, you can wrap it up and give it to them.
Absolutely. So, I mean, look, and obviously,
next month that'd be a good one. Good one for you.
Yeah, I don't mind the Phillies, but the Phillies and Mets don't see eye to eye. Okay, we have a problem. Okay,
the Phillies and the Mets certainly do not. They're big time rivals. You could see, of course. By the way, I grew up a Yankee fan. That Red Sox banner's got to go, my friend.
I love it, man. I love it.
I mean, I'm from New England, so I have to. I mean, it's like
Jeez, Adam, you got Frank got you, from Hofstra.
Yeah, I know.
Mike.
I was a Red Sox fan. I lived in New England, so it's like I go back. To the years of Jerry Remy, calling games with Sean McDonough, and I can say I'm also an Atlanta Braves fan.
Oh, no.
So, the Braves and Phillies have a rivalry, and we did win the World Series championship last year and the National League East championship again. So,
all right, you two, calm down. This is fun.
I'm letting them go because it's like anything else. For the Atlanta Braves, they've always been bridesmaids, rarely a bride.
Yeah.
So
True.
Kudos to them. It was the World Series was enjoyable last year. But we're excited for baseball, guys. I mean, our opening day is Tuesday, April 5th. So, fans who are intrigued to see who is the next wave of Phillies prospects, we're excited because we should have a few of them at Coca-Cola Park this season.
Yeah, I've been up there once. I went up there a couple of years ago when the Tim Tebow tour was rolling into town. It was
2019 season. That was my first year back.
It's funny. Everybody came up there, all these people from Lehigh Valley, you get your media people, and I'm sitting there, and I swear, I think, because I met Tebow a couple times before, when he was with the Jets, and all that stuff. I'm sitting there, and he's staring at me going, come on, dude, I know you. Give me some questions. I'm looking at the photograph going, why are you looking at me for? I'm like, I don't like you. I'm a Florida State guy, You're a Gator. I don't look like Gators. Go away. But how was that experience like having, someone like that, a national champion, Heisman Trophy winner who's trying to get to the major leagues? Did you guys have a great crowd that week?
Yeah, we did. I mean, it was one of the few times. I think it was the first of two trips for Syracuse. Ended up getting hurt later on in the season. But I tell people all the time, a Class A player and a person. I mean, he is a dynamic human being. You're not going to find someone who was nicer, easy to deal with. He signed autographs like you wouldn't believe. So, I like to tell people all the time, as a human being, he's A+. Now he struggled. I mean, let's be honest, he was not a baseball player. Football was his claim to fame. And I'm rooting for Tim, though, because I actually think Tim's got a chance to have an unbelievable career covering college football. And I think if he wants to, he would be outstanding in the booth one day. I think if he can become an analyst in a booth, I think he's got a golden opportunity. But him and his wife, they have other things that I know they do. So, their philanthropic work, they're very active in the community. Of course, Tebow, Tim is he's a very faithful man, religious man. So, he's got his, he works with the ministry and things of that nature. So, my time with, dealing with Tim for that brief period, it was awesome.
That's cool. That's nice. Back to the people coming to the Caravan. Tommy Green is familiar with all the Phillies fans. He pitched a no-no. Back in early
second 90s. Start back in '93, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that. It was one of those. I think it was in Montreal or something like that. So it was pretty interesting. And with Mickey Mornidini, I could hear what's his name, Harry Callis doing that. Call. Like Mickey Mornidini coming up. Me growing up as a Met fan and here in Long Island and moved down here, it was great to go to the beach to watching Phillies games on TV. I was like, okay, this is interesting watching Phillies baseball in Delaware, but it was pretty neat to watch, different baseball.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think all of us here, can agree that, yes, do we have our teams? I like to tell people now, and especially I've been getting older, I've been working in minor league baseball now for 12, 13 years, is that I am truly a baseball fan first, and the team I root for second. I love the game. I want this game to continue to grow and continue to blossom. Right now, of course, Major League Baseball and the Players Association they're trying to figure things out. So what's nice is for all of us who are fortunate enough to work in minor league baseball, for the players who are actually not on the 40-man roster, if that lockout continues, they're going to be uninterrupted. We're going to be uninterrupted. We're going to play, and we're really excited about it. So, I'm excited about the staff that's coming to Lehigh Valley. I think there's going to be some cool players. I think, if depending on what happens during spring training, I would have to think Bryson Stott is a starting shortstop for the Iron Pigs this year, unless he really does extremely well in big league camp and Didi Gregorius struggles. Then he can certainly test the Phillies, but I just ultimately think the Phillies' top prospect will be in Lehigh Valley this season. So, we're less than 50 days until opening day. It's coming.
Yeah, it's true, and it's always and AAA baseball is great because you can see them, you guys up there in Lehigh Valley, or where the Orioles are down in Norfolk. I've been to a Norfolk game, and that's pretty cool. Where the Tide used to be the Mets AAA affiliate, and the whole ballpark's full of Met stuff. It's like there's no Oriole thing at all. It's like you got the Orioles been there for like 5-6 years. Get rid of them and all that stuff. That's not Mets are not here anymore. Go away. But I love it. It's great to see. My history of my team going, wow, that's where Dwight Gooden came up from. Really?
Well, it's like for when you come to Coca-Cola Park, you'll see as Chris, as like Iron Pigs branding is all throughout the place. But I think we do a very good job in recognizing that we are the Phillies' top affiliate. So you can walk on the concourse and see our pigs to the bigs. Anytime that there's reference to the Phillies, we make sure that we get that out there in our messaging. And, it's kind of like for the Boston Red Sox, Worcester.
The Woo Sox.
Pawtucket was a Graceland in AAA.
Yes, it was.
Polar Park and what's going to happen in Worcester, the Red Sox put so much money in that place that it's even to the point now they send guys to rehab in Worcester. They don't even send them down to Fort Myers. They'll send them to Worcester because of the facilities on how good it is. They still send guys down to Fort Myers, but if the Woo Sox are home and guys ready to rehab in AAA, it's nice. They can just stick them right there. So, I love minor league baseball. What I tell people, I go, you get the best of both worlds. You come out, it's a cheap experience in a sense of you're not spending $100,000, you're not spending hundreds of dollars in one night. Mm-hmm. And the other side of it too is you get that interaction with ball players and coaches that you wouldn't really get at the big league level. And third, as I always like to say, you get free stuff. You get a bobblehead, you watch a fireworks show, you get some sort of giveaway. You can't beat the experience. Myself, selfishly, guys, I'd like to get to the big leagues one day. Yeah. Whether it be in PR or, of course, Chris, as I do broadcast work as well. So, I'd like that opportunity. But for now, I'm just biding my time, at the highest level here in minor league baseball. So, and in my opinion, work for the best, AAA affiliate in the country. So, that's cool. Can't get much better than that.
Yeah. Let's talk about your other job during the winter time, because I know during the winter, you spend time in the Jersey Institute, of Technology, and when you hear that name, you're like, oh, that's basketball. That's totally basketball. What conference did they play in? The American East?
Yeah, they play in America East. So they play teams such as Stony Brook, who will actually no longer be in the conference. They're switching over to the CAA. Binghamton, UMass Lowell, University of Albany, UMBC down by you. I think I said Maine, and I feel like and New Hampshire. So, it's a very good conference. I like it. I think NJIT, from a men's and women's basketball perspective, compete very well in it. Some other sports are doing a really good job. Actually, NJIT swimming and diving team, was able to compete, get to the America East championships, but I believe New Hampshire won, or actually UMBC won. So, the sports, it's funny because NJIT's come a long way. It's an engineering school. I mean, you have walking brainiacs walking through those hallways. Even the basketball, even the athletes. We did a feature on the broadcast recently of like, you have multiple players on a girls basketball team that have like 3.8, 3.9, 4.0 GPAs, and they're still playing Division I basketball. They're over 500 for the first time in years. They're 7-5 in the conference, and they got a chance for the first time in program history to host a first round matchup in the conference tournament. So, and the men's team they're battling. They had they've won 2 out of their last 3 games. So they're going to have a spot in the America East tournament, I think. So, and it's a good mid-major conference. I mean, it's not like by us, Seton Hall or Rutgers or Villanova or, St. Joe's or any of those schools, but it's, and I think, NGIT, they've done a tremendous job just building the program from where they once were years ago.
I do have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Your favorite football team is the New York Jets. I feel for you because I'm a Long Island guy. I feel for you because I'm from that area. My dad still talks about Joe Namath.
My dad does too, but my dad's a Giant fan, though.
Yeah. So I still hear stories about how Joe Namath had a quick release and, and all that stuff. And I feel like, and my older brother's the only one in my family who's still a Jet fan. And I ask him, like, what for? And he goes, I still love the Jets. I'm like, okay.
I think Adam, are you a Patriot fan?
Oh, no. He's bringing out the other one.
I just got to ask. I know what I'm dealing with.
2-time AFC champion, the other New York team, the Buffalo Bills.
I can deal with that because it's funny. I'm a Jet fan. I'm a loyal fan.
I know.
My dad is a Giants fan years ago.
No.
So years ago, it's funny if you saw pictures of me as my older brother and I as little boys. Phil Simms jerseys were on us. But as we got a little older, Dad started taking us to the NFL games. Giant tickets were expensive to come by. And there's even still to this day, it's a tough seat to get.
Yeah.
So started taking us to Jet games. My brother was smart and didn't buy in. I did because I remember watching Vinny Testaverde, Jumbo Elliott, Curtis Martin. I even remember when Tom Tupa was punting and stepped into because Testaverde gets hurt, tears his ACL, and Tom Tupa ends up throwing 2 touchdown passes, nearly leads the Jets to beat the Patriots at the Meadowlands that day. I'm a disgruntled Jets fan, but I'm a loyal fan. I think they're in a good place right now. And but it's funny, Adam, my buddy and I, who's a bigger Jets fan than me, we agree, though, when it comes to the division, I think the Jets and the Bills probably are the least of rivals compared to like the Bills and the Patriots or the Bills and the Dolphins. Same with the Jets. The Jets, my buddy, he can't stand Miami more. I can't stand New England more because a lot of Jet fans still can't forgive Dan Marino for the fake spike game.
Oh my God!
Oh gosh! Oh my!
I can't forgive Tom Brady for ruining my youth for 20 years. I mean, that's my.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I was up in I was up in Foxborough one time. I was with a friend, a lady friend of mine, and she gave me a pass, and I was on the field, and Brady was like right where I have a paper towel roll, right where where I'm pointing, and I'm staring at him because I'm a Joe Montana fan, and I'm sorry, you're not the GOAT when you lose 3 or 4 Super Bowls. Okay, how do you the GOAT if you lose Super Bowls? Okay, Montana is perfect. Bradshaw is perfect. Joe Namath is still perfect, and he's wearing his jacket from the '60s. Still think he's rocking. Yeah.
I used to have that same argument, but not anymore. Despite Tom Brady going to 10 Super Bowls and only winning 7, can't dispute that. And Joe Montana, Joe Montana was Joe Coolhead the comebacks. But if you're telling me now, if I want one quarterback, I'm taking Tom. And that's as a disgruntled Jets fan, I'm taking Tom over Joe. And I remember Joe Montana when I was a little boy. I kind of remember him more as a Chief than I do as a 49er. But Joe Montana, to me, it's Brady won Montana too. And I think Brady bypassed Montana when he actually just won his last Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. I think that, to me, you can't dispute 7 Super Bowls. You just can't. And in all of his comeback victories and where he came from, remember something. Joe Montana was a top prospect coming out of Notre Dame. He won a national championship at Notre Dame.
Right.
Eyes were already on Joe Montana. He didn't. All it took was Mo Lewis to essentially pile drive Drew Bledsoe into the ground, and that's the reason why Tom Brady came into play. If Mo Lewis does not spear Drew Bledsoe, you may not be having it. We're not even talking about Tom Brady. But
Tom Brady will be playing for the Yankees probably.
Yeah, no, he was actually the last. How about this for a fun fact, kids? You know who was the last draft pick for the Montreal Expos?
It was Brady, right?
It was Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
That would be funny if Mo Lewis didn't drill, Bledsoe in the ground. You've never heard of Tom Brady at all. Tom Brady will probably be like, I'm whining. I'm going to go to play baseball in Montreal. The Expos will still be in, because I'm wearing Gary Carter's jersey today because Gary Carter passed away 10 years ago tomorrow.
Right.
Montreal will be still in Montreal. The Washington Nationals will not even be a figment of everybody's imagination. It will be a minor league ballpark for somebody. And then, but it's funny, like you just said, it's weird that if you see that one, like I look at the same thing you do sometimes, Mike. Like I look at like different things, like what happened, like with the Orioles. If Benitez did not throw that fastball to Roberto Alomar in the '97 playoffs, the Orioles would have gone off to the World Series. They would have played somebody in the Fall Classic. They probably would have won the World Series. Same thing with the Mets. If we didn't, Heidelman did not give up that home run to Molina in the ninth inning, of Game 7 of the 2006 NLCS, we would have gone and played against Detroit. If they didn't, I look at these little things. And my dad goes, "Why you analyze that?" And I was like, "Because you got to see what happened. Because if you take away that from that equation, this is where what would happen."
And go as far too as in the 2000 World Series, even though the Yankees won, the Mets were the better team that year.
Right.
Yeah.
The Mets were the better team. They had a better. In my opinion, they had a much better lineup. Rotation, you can argue with Clemens and Pettit against Mike Hampton and Al Leiter and Rick Reed. So the Mets were the much better overall team. Now, of course, the Yankees did have Mariano Rivera, and Armando Benitez was one of the best closers in the game. He's remembered as someone who blew too many saves, and like the rest of them, they had to all play second fiddle to Mariano.
Yeah, and plus he hit Tito Martinez in the back and at Yankee Stadium. He's like, "Come on, bring it!" I'm like, "You don't do that at Yankee Stadium. No, are you that crazy?"
And if I'm not mistaken, the Mets had leads in both games 1 and 2 at Yankee Stadium. I was at Game 4 when Jeter homered on the first pitch of the game at Shea Stadium. In my opinion, if you actually look at the history of the World Series, you can argue it was probably the worst starting pitching matchup in the history of the World Series. The Mets trotted out Bobby Jones, and the Yankees trotted out Denny Nagel. Made me a worse starting pitching matchup at the top of your guys.
Well, Bobby Jones was coming off pitching a one-hitter against the Giants.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah. Bobby was ridiculous. Yeah. Bobby was good, but when you look at things from a historic standpoint, so
it's crazy. Do you have something for Mike real quick before we let him go?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the 49ers because I'm a Cowboys fan. So
I mean, look, still writing about the Prescott and still trying to get the first down.
Look, for me, the Dallas Cowboys. They were the team of the '90s. My thing is, you're not America's team anymore. You're not. And and the reason why is, and I got to give the guy credit because I don't want to get sued for creative liberty. Stephen A. Smith from ESPN says it right all the time. You guys are an accident waiting to happen. The Cowboys always find a way to cowboy it up.
I'm not going to disagree with that. When your quarterback tries to run a 40-yard quarterback draw,
goodness, that was such bad.
No in the game and no timeouts. It's like, why?
Right.
But I think the Cowboys will be back. I think the Cowboys, they still have a good roster. They're going to roll with Mike McCarthy. I think, because you look at the rest of the division, the Giants and the Commanders are probably another year or two maybe from getting back into contention consistently. Mm-hmm. The Eagles, I'm intrigued to see. It's going to be Jalen Hurts needs to have a big year and needs to take a big step forward in year 2. So, Adam, I would think Bills Mafia though may have a chance to celebrate next year. I think the Bills.
Thank you.
As much as that pains me to say,
I appreciate that.
Hey,
course.
Mike, we need to get you on before baseball season starts. We'll have more debates. Yeah, we should have like a debate.
Hey,
night,
look,
you know?
look, I love talking football. I know we just, the Super Bowl was on,
Yeah.
fun Super Bowl, but obviously you guys want to come on talk baseball because hopefully by that time next month we're talking, not, we all know minor league baseball's ready to rock and roll, but hopefully Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before you let you go, folks, don't forget the Winter Carnival is next Thursday, February 24th. It's up there in Horwood Suites, up there in beautiful Lehigh Valley. So Mike's going to be there with Mickey Mornandini and Tom Green and Milt Thompson. And I don't know, I might be off that day. I might maybe we take a road trip if the weather's good.
Well, I was about to say, tickets are still available for anybody who wants to take a trip. So, but if not, hopefully we see you at Coca-Cola Park for an Iron
Yeah, I
Pigs.
hope I make a trip up there. It was nice, a nice ride. It was really good.
So, all three of you guys hope to see you guys at the ballpark this season. So,
hope you too. And folks, don't forget, if you want to get tickets, where did they go? They go to your website?
ironpigsbaseball.com. So we'd love to see you at the Caravan, but also too want to see you starting Tuesday, April 5th for opening day. So, but Chris, Adam, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Have a great night.
You as well. Good night.
All right, see you. All right, folks, that's Adam Michael Ventola, who is the Ironbirds and Philadelphia AAA PR guy, broadcaster, and extraordinaire, and former big fan of the New York Jets. And we could sit there and talk Jet football and the rest of the night. We could do that one night. We should just bring people in who hate teams. Just bring them in. Yeah, how about that?
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Have a debate night,
Yeah,
Debate night on Herb FM radio.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, at the top of the hour, we're going to be on until 9:30 because we got a couple more guests lined up here. We'll come up here with Steve Schrimper, who is the Stetson University baseball coach. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Hey guys, can you hear me? I just want to make sure everything's working here.
Yes, I can hear you really well.
good.
How are you doing this evening? And thanks for coming on. And I was down there a couple years ago. Steve and I were down there years ago for a baseball game, and that ballpark is very nice.
Yeah, it actually it is. Melching Field is a great ballpark, great venue. In fact, I just literally walked into my house. We had a night practice tonight. We had our last tune-up scrimmage, and we're fortunate to have a really great community here in DeLand, Florida, Stetson University, and we're actually really excited. We announced and launched our stadium renovation announcement about 3 months ago. So we're actually going to be putting 2 phases of building into our stadium starting this summer. We're going to be spending about $7.5 million this summer, and then the following summer we're putting about another $8 million into it to really upgrade Melching to be one of the nicest fields in the country, I'm going to say.
Nice. So you're a native New Jerseyan. So how's life in Florida? It's better than looking at 30 degrees and cold and and getting ready for something in the springtime.
Yeah, you're right. I did. I grew up in New Jersey, played baseball, football, up in Sussex County, New Jersey at Kittatinny High School, and went to college, played baseball, 2 different places, played at Elon down in North Carolina, and then transferred back to Eastern Connecticut. Had great experiences playing, but I got right into coaching, and my whole entire coaching career was in the Northeast. When I got right done in 1993, I was coaching in Boston at a school called Wentworth Institute of Technology. Then I went over to the University of Vermont. Then I got a chance to be a head coach in 1999, where I went to Manhattan College for 7 years, and then I moved on to Maine for 11 years. So after all that travel and all those indoor practices and trying to figure out how to teach in a hallway or a gymnasium, I finally got an opportunity to go into Stetson, and I didn't pass it up. And I can tell you probably at this point in my career, I'm not going back to the Northeast. I'm a little too soft and Floridian now. So
No, don't go back up here. It's like during the winter time, it's like like you're dreaming of baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So you've been down there pretty for a long time down there. Down there at Stetson University, and you had a great your great second year. You guys made it all the way to the tournament. You won the regional final. That must have been a thrill for you as a coach coming from Maine to a very good school in the Atlantic Sun Conference.
Yeah, when I was at Maine, which is a really good traditional baseball program, if you go back and look at the last 30, 40 years, I mean, John Winkin was a legendary coach there that brought them to 6 World Series. It was a lot different back then when they had just a regional, and you had to beat this teams in your region. You went right to Omaha, of course, and things changed in the late 90s when they started the current format. So, at Maine, we had a couple good regional teams. We won a lot of games there. And then what happened is I traveled so much at Maine. We used to always play Coach Dunn and at Stetson because it was a great place to come into. The weather was good. So I almost got to know the fans a little bit, the trainer, the SID. So when Coach Dunn decided to retire in 2016, they called me and asked me if I'd be interested in the job. And obviously I went through the interview process and really hit it off with the president and our AD, Jeff Altier, who's a big supporter of the baseball program. He played here. He was an assistant coach. He's been the AD now for 26 years. He's the chair for the Division I NCAA selection committee. So he's really active in Division I college baseball. So they really showed me that we have a lot of support in the community and at the school. And so it was a great, chance for me to kind of go to the elite state, between Texas, California, and Florida. Everybody's good. The players are good. The teams, the colleges are good. And then in my second year here, we really had a good core of guys that returned, and we added in a few transfers and some recruits, and it just all kind of clicked. And, we had a great season. Obviously like 7 of those guys got drafted. Logan Gilbert went in the first round, who's now in the Seattle rotation. Brooks Wilson was our closer and our DH that year. It's an ironic story. Brooks was going to sign his junior year, and I put him up in the Cape in Orleans, and he said, I'd like to maybe come back and not sign in the 26th round. And I said, he wanted me to promise him that I would give him a chance to hit as a senior if he came back. So I was like, I'll make that promise. So we did. And he ended up being the John Oldroyd Award winner that year. He ended up hitting 312 with the team guys and had 24 saves that year and went in the 6th round. So it really helped him out. And Brooksy's on the 40-man right now, with the Braves. So, it was a really good pitching defensive group, and we learned how to scratch out a few runs that year and, really got hot at the end and had our RPI up to number 4 in the country. And not only did we make the regional, but we were number 1 seed, and we were able to host a regional, which was the dream of DeLand. And when I say DeLand, our field is actually off campus and it's owned by the city of DeLand. And we have a partnership with the city that's remarkable. Most coaches would not like that. For us, it's an awesome partnership. We get the city support. It's in the downtown area where all the restaurants and shops and bars are.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's a gorgeous area. Yeah. And so having that regional brought a lot of commerce and a lot of exposure to DeLand. And so when the stadium project came up, it was almost like they're addicted. They're like, yeah, we're involved. They're helping us fund this thing. And, the city's it got voted through unanimously on the board to help us get this thing going. So it was a really good 2018. And then obviously, 19, we were one step away from a regional. We lost to Liberty in the finals. We wanted to repeat to get back in. And then it seems like the wheels fell off since then because we've been dealing with 2 years of COVID. So hopefully we're having a normal year this year.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating. I was doing some research. Stetson University has some great major leaguers, who came through your program. Steve Haggerty, Bill Haggerty, the guy from the Orioles, and some guy named DeGrom. I think I heard about him. And this guy Kluber. Yeah, look at this guy. We know this guy.
Yeah. I've seen that pitch when I stand in when he throws his bullpens every Friday up here in the wintertime. So
he does. That's cool. What does he look like? Does he look better? Because I know last year he was hurt, and I'm a big Met fan. And since he got hurt, we went from first place to, and then we got a new manager in Buck Showalter. But what does he look like when you see him on Fridays? Does he look like ready to go?
Yeah, Jake's working out. I mean, I think that, he's ready to go to camp and he's anxious. So he's doing his programs that his trainers have him on and ready to go. I know that he's anxious to play, and I wouldn't be able to speak to, is he ready to start today or anything like that. But I know he's actively doing his stuff. He lives in DeLand. He still lives right here. He grew up, was born and raised right around here. He went to Stetson. He was actually, it's a great story. They told it time and time in the New York area, but he was a shortstop here at Stetson, and I was actually coaching against him when I was at Maine. And Coach Dunn used to use him as a closer, bring him in at the end, and they got so banged up that junior year that they started him on as a starter about halfway through. And it's where he really kind of made his mark and got himself drafted as a middle rounds guy. I think it was like a 7th or 8th or 9th rounder, and he's taken off. But it is unique having him and Kluber. And this was kind of a neat year because both of them were in New York.
Yeah.
And, being from New Jersey, I love to recruit New Jersey. And we have, 2 more kids coming in next year from New Jersey. I got 4 or 5. I've had the Neola boys on my team. The Hilton brothers are here. Some really good talent. So I'm always up in New Jersey. And when I first started getting back to New Jersey, my first 2 years, people be like, Stetson, where's that? I think I heard of that. Well, now I go up to all the All-Star games in the summertime, and everybody knows Stetson because it's Kluber and DeGrom are getting blown up every day, and I keep getting this little old Stetson University has these 2, Cy Young Award winners in New York.
Yeah, I was thinking about this year. If they were healthy, it would have been funny. They would have pitched against each other. And I think you probably have the best ratings in that Central Florida area because everybody would be like watching Fox, and Fox would be like, "We're going to make this the game of the week every year if they have DeGrom and Corey going at it." But that's interesting. So
it is. Yeah, it's we have a big ballpark. The current Melching Stadium, as you've seen, it's a really big ballpark. We're going to be changing the dynamics a little bit, but we've kind of been known as like a pitching university for all these years. There's been a plethora of guys that have gotten up to AAA. Right now, like I said, Brooksy is on his way there. We certainly have a lot of others that are on their way. That could really be good players for us, or that were good players for us that are in the minor league system. So it is a unique little niche that we have. I mean, we obviously want to score a ton of runs too, but I got a great pitching coach, Dave Thurneau. Has been with me since my first year. He was a national pitching coach of the year in 2018 when we had that really good staff. And we're out there recruiting, up and down the Eastern Seaboard, but, we mix it up with the Floridas and the Florida States and Miamis. And, we get a few of the players that are looking for a fit that might be a little bit smaller of a university. We're only 3,300 students. I loved it in the super regionals of the 16 teams. They showed the graphic on ESPN of the size of the schools of Carolina and Oregon State and UCLA, and then it had little Stetson there with 3,300 students. So, we're a good academic private school down here that has a great baseball setup.
Well, Adam, you got the last question.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you live in Florida, and coach at Stetson, and you coach at the University of Maine. So I got to ask. What do you think has the better seafood, New England or Florida?
That's a great question. That's an awesome question, and I got a great way of answering that. So I've always found an outlet. I think we go so hard as coaches, you're going to burn out if you work this hard. Like we really go at 110% all the time. When I was in Maine, I really got into whitetail hunting and, going out for walks and going to the beautiful woods, which is gorgeous